Hi grade 9 students! In this video, we are going to discuss about division of radicals. Our objective: perform the division of radicals. Let us recall first the division property of radicals. We have the nth root of A over the nth root of B that is equal to the nth root of A over B. And the square root of A over B is also equal to the square root of A over the square root of B. Let us now proceed to these examples. Divide and simplify. The square root of 121 over 36. We all know that 121 is a perfect square and 36 also is a perfect square. So what is our answer? So we have, separate lang ang numerator over this denominator. So we have square root of 121 over by square root of 36. That is 11 over 6. Paano nakuha yung 11? 11 times 11 is 121. Or the square root of 121 is 11. And the square root of 36 is 6. So this 11 over 6 is our answer. Number 2. Square root of 98 divided by square root of 2. We all know that 98 is not a perfect square, as well as 2. But we can divide 98 by 2. That is square root of 49. So, hindi natin iwala yung square root na symbol or the radical sign. Again, 98 divided by 2, that is 49. And now, 49 is a perfect square, so our answer is 7. Because 7 times 7 is 49. Next, number 3. Square root of 225 divided by square root of 5. Yes, 225 is a perfect square, but we still have denominator of a radical, which is square root of 5. But this 225 can be divided by 5, and that is square root of 45. So, again, nakuha yung 45 from the answer of 225 divided by 5. Then, this 45 is not a perfect square. Pero, may factor siya na isang factor is a perfect square. That is 9 and 5. Or 9 times 5 equals 45. And ang square root ng 9, ilabas natin, that is 3. Naiwan si 5 as our radical because 5 is not a perfect square. So, our final answer for this is 3 square root of 5. We will proceed to number 4. Square root of 200 divided by 5. Again, 200 is not a perfect square, as well as 5. But we can divide 200 by 5. We have the square root of 40. And 40 is not a perfect square, but there are factors of 40 wherein one factor is a perfect square. Yun, ang factors niya is, or are, 4 and 10. 4 times 10 is 40. Then, ang square root ni 4, ilabas natin, that is 2. Then, naiwan si 10 as our radical because 10 is not a perfect square. So, our final answer is 2 square root of 10. For number 5, 6 square root of 6 divided by 3 square root of 2. So, the coefficients 6 and 3 are divisible as well as the radicand 6 and 2 are divisible. So, our answer is 2 from the quotient of 6 and 3. 6 divided by 3, 2. And square root of 3 from the quotient of square root of 6 over by square root of 2. So, the answer is 2 square root of 3. Number 6. Square root of 12a cubed b to the power of 3 over by square root of a cubed over b. So we will examine whether we can divide 12 by 3. So yes, we can divide 12 by 3 and that is 4. And a cube over by a cube, that is considered as 1. So pwede nang i-cancel yan siya. So wala na siya. Pwede na, wala na to. And b cube divided by b. Remember the quotient rule. In quotient rule, we are going to subtract the exponent. So 3 minus 2, or 3 minus 1, because we have here an exponent na 1. So 3 minus 1, that is 2. So our answer is square root of 4b squared. But the square root of 4b squared can still be simplified. Ano yung square root ni 4? That is 2. And square root of b squared, that is b. So our final answer is 2b. The process of changing the denominator that represents an irrational number to a rational number is called rationalizing the denominator. Now, there are cases that the numerator and denominator are not divisible. So, we can only say that a radical is in simplified form when there is no radical in the denominator. So, to understand, we'll have this example. Rationalize the denominator. So, this is a process when you are going to make sure that there is no radical in the denominator. Now, number 1, square root of 9 over by square root of 2. Yes, 9 is a perfect square. So, the square root of 9 is 3. But, this square root of 2 is not a perfect square. So, we remain this as our denominator. So, we have 3 square root of 2. We cannot say that this 3 divided by square root of 2 is our final answer. Because there is, as I've said earlier, when there is denominator, a denominator has a radical, it is not considered as a simplified form. So that's why we are going to rationalize. Now, how to rationalize is we are going to identify our denominator, that is square root of 2, and we will multiply it to our numerator and denominator. So we have 3 square root of 2 times square root of 2 over by square root of 2. Again, ang ating denominator is square root of 2. So, kopyahin siya, i-multiply siya sa 3, then i-multiply siya sa square root of 2. So, our answer would be 3 square root of 2 over by square root of 4. Asa nakuha yung 4? From 2 times 2. Diba? And then, our final answer is 3 square root of 2. Since ang numerator natin hindi na siya ma-simplify, kopyahin na lang. Then, ang square root ng 4 is 2. And this is our final answer. So, nawala na yung radical sa denominator. And this is considered as the simplified form. We will proceed to number 2 example. 1 divided by square root of 5. Again, this is not considered as a simplified form because there is denominator or radical in the denominator. So, of course, we are going to rationalize. So, 1 over square root of 5. So, since our denominator is square root of 5, i-multiply natin siya sa numerator as well as sa denominator. So, 1 square root of 5 is equal to square root of 5. So, or 1 square root of 5. So, hindi ko na lang nilagay yung 1. Then, 5 times 5 is 25. Ang square root ng 25 is 5. So, our final answer is square root of 5 over by 5. So, nawala na si radical as denominator. And this is our simplified form. Number 3, 2 over or divided by cube root of x. So, the same, the denominator has its radical. So, we are going to multiply the numerator and denominator by this radical. So, we have cube root of, or 2 times the cube root of x squared over cube root of x times the cube root of x squared. Bakit may exponent na 2? So, diba? We will make sure that mawala yung radical sa denominator. So, since our denominator is cube root of x, cube root yung index natin, ano yung ilagay na exponent na pwede siya, na ang product, makancel yung index and exponent? So, of course, 2. Because 2 plus 1 is 3. Diba? 3. So, we have copy the numerator to cube root of x squared. So, ayun na. Then, cube root of x cubed. So, ngayon, parihan na sila. Cube root and x cubed from 1 plus 2 equals 3. So, cancel natin si cube root and si index. And our final answer is 2 cube root of x squared over x. So, nawala na si radical as our denominator. Number 4, the square root of 13 over 5. So, according to the division property of radicals, that is equal to, this is equal to cube root of, square root of 13 divided by square root of 5. So, there is radical in the denominator and we cannot divide 13 by 5. So, we have to rationalize to make it in simplified form. So, ang ating denominator is square root of 5. So, multiply natin sa numerator na square root of 13 by square root of 5. Si denominator na square root of 5, i-multiply din natin sa square root of 5. Then, 13 times 5 is square root of 65. Then, square root of 5 times square root of 5, that is 25. Ngayon, si 65 walang perfect square and walang factor na perfect square. So, we will just copy. And square root of 25 is 5. So, nawala na si radical sa denominator and this is our final and simplified answer. Number 5. 6 divided by square root of 3 minus 1. Now, from number 1 to 4 example, our denominator is monomial. This time, our denominator is a binomial. Now, how can we rationalize this? Of course, we need to find its conjugate. When we say conjugate, kung plus symbol yung sa binomial natin, pagdating sa binomial na i-multiply mo sa numerator and denominator, maging minus symbol. In this case, in number 5, minus siya, di ba? Minus 1. So, ang ating conjugate is square root of 3 plus 1. Pag minus siya dito, maging plus yung conjugate natin. Pero kung plus yung denominator or symbol dito, maging minus yung symbol sa conjugate. So, let us now proceed. So, this is our conjugate wherein i-multiply natin sa numerator and sa denominator. So, we have 6 times or quantity square root of 3 plus 1. So, wala. I-copy lang natin. Then, sa denominator, so, may minus symbol tayo and may plus symbol. So, this is called our previous lesson in sum and difference of two squares. We have square root of 9 minus 1. Why? 9. 3 times 3. Or square root of 3 times square root of 3, that is square root of 9. And negative 1 times positive 1, that is negative 1. And then, we have to copy the numerator. Copy siya, hindi na siya mas-simplify. So, asan galing tong 3 na to? From our square root of 9. So, 3 minus 1, that is 2. And we all know that 6 can be divided by 2. So, therefore, our final answer is 3 quantity square root of 3 plus 1. Again, 3 times the quantity of square root of 3 plus 1 is our simplified form. Next, number 6 example, the square root of 3 divided by the square root of 2 plus square root of 5. So, the same thing to do is we are going to find its conjugate. So, again, our denominator is a binomial and the symbol here is plus. So, of course, our conjugate is square root of 2 minus square root of 5. So, square root of 3 divided by square root of 2 plus square root of 5. We will multiply our conjugate to the numerator and denominator. So, we have the conjugate of square root of 2 minus square root of 5 divided by square root of 2 minus square root of 5. Then, in the numerator, we are going to use the distributive property. So, square root of 3 times the quantity of square root of 2 minus square root of 5. Then, in the denominator, this is the sum and product of two squares. Square root of 4 minus square root of 25. Then, in the numerator, we have 2 distribute. So, we have square root of 3 times square root of 2, that is square root of 6. Then, square root of 3 times square root of 5, that is square root of 15. So, minus square root of 15. Then, ano yung square root ng 4? That is 2 minus 5. So, we have this answer of square root of 6 minus square root of 15 over by negative 3. Or, negative square root of 6 plus square root of 15 over by 3. That is our final answer. For number 7, square root of y minus 2 square root of y divided by square root of y plus 3. So, our conjugate ngayon is square root of y minus 3. Multiply the conjugate to the numerator and denominator. So, in the numerator we are going to use the FOIL method. We all know what is FOIL, diba? First, outer, inner, and last. So, for the first term, we have square root of y times square root of y. That is square root of y squared. For O, or the outer term, negative 3 times square root of y, that is negative 3y. For the inner term, we have negative 2 times square root of y, that is negative 2 square root of y. For the last term, we have negative 2 times negative 3, that is positive 6. And for the denominator, we have to use the sum and sum and difference of two squares. So, we have square root of y squared minus 9. Why 9? Because 3 times negative 3, that is negative 9. Then, we are going to simplify our numerator. We have y na lang siya, y, because we cancel the index is the exponent, so y ang naiwan. Then, negative 3 minus negative 2, that is negative 5y plus 6. And for the denominator, we have y minus 9. So, this is now our final answers. Wala na siya makancel or wala nang simplify. Final answer na. So, that's all for division of radicals. Grade 9 students. Good luck!